Georgia drives me nuts. I have never been more infuriated watching a team this year than by watching Georgia. By the way, last night I watched Georgia and Texas A&M. Jake Fromm, Georgia's quarterback, struggled. He had a horrible stat line. He was 11 for 23 passing at 163 yards, 1 touchdown. Threw some ugly passes, missed guys who were wide open. Now, I honestly think last night's game is not a great example if you want to really rag on Georgia's offense because it was raining incredibly hard. And I think when you watch over the television, it's hard for that really to come through the TV. You go, it looks okay kind of from the a high angle. You can almost not tell it's raining. It was raining cats and dogs last night. And rain, and when the ball is that wet, like waterlogged like that, it's a pain, man. Jake Fromm had a glove on his hand at one point, and it was a mess. But throughout the year, I don't want you to just look at the stats from the game last night. The game last night is a caveat. It was raining really, really hard. But when I look at the ingredients that Georgia has, and then I look at Georgia's season where, they lost to South Carolina, and it was because the offense wasn't good enough. The offense cost them a South Carolina game. The reason why Georgia has one loss is because of their offense. And throughout the year, Georgia's offense has been so limited and been unable to keep up with their defense. And their defense is incredible. I think their defense is probably, arguably, the best defense in the entire SEC. And when you look at Georgia, again, all the ingredients are there. An incredible defense, tremendous talent everywhere. George Pickens, DeAndre Swift, just talent abode on the offensive side of the ball. Incredible linemen, giant dudes pushing people around. And then honestly, I think everybody at Georgia would agree with this. Your quarterback, Jake Fromm, is not perfect, but I like him. I really do. He's a good guy. He works hard. He does everything right. I think there is a ceiling that Jake Fromm has that's not being reached and not being accomplished. And it's really difficult to watch LSU and not be sad about Georgia. What is Jake Fromm? Jake Fromm, the Georgia quarterback, what is he? He's exactly what LSU's quarterback Joe Burrow was last year. Joe Burrow, LSU's quarterback last year, was solid, but then he took a gigantic leap forward this year and became a Heisman Trophy probably winner. Here's what Jake Fromm is. Jake Fromm is a great guy. He's a good leader. He works hard. But he can't quite seem to be good enough. Something is missing. Something seems to be holding him back. What is it? What's going on? Well, let's talk about LSU real quick. The reason why LSU's quarterback, Joe Burrow, tremendously improved over the course of an offseason is LSU hired a coach named Joe Brady from the Saints, from the New Orleans Saints. They hired him to be their passing game coordinator. They didn't hire him as offensive coordinator or quarterback coach. They said, no, you're a passing game coordinator. You're an assistant. We're bringing you in to bring in a new guy with new ideas to help our offense get better. Overnight, Joe Burrow becomes a Heisman Trophy probably winner. Because Joe Burrow, one, did the work. You gotta you don't just give all the credit to the coaching staff. Joe Burrow, the quarterback at LSU, did a tremendous amount of work. Clearly, I call it, boiler room time. When I was in college playing quarterback, I would go to a boiler room and I would yell through my protections because I could be loud in there if I want. I'd run our entire offense in my head, yelling out play calls and yelling out protection signs in a boiler room. Call it boiler room time because when you're alone, that's what you do. Joe Burrow has a ton of boiler room time where he's done a ton of work on his own by himself. But he also had a coach, Joe Brady, leading the way, helping him understand where to go. He had guidance and he worked hard. The kid at Georgia, Jake Fromm, needs guidance. He needs somebody to help him. I really believe that Jake Fromm would buy in if you got him a new coach, but Georgia needs to innovate. They need to do something. I'm not even asking for them to fire the offensive coordinator, nothing like that. Bring in a new fresh mind. Bring in somebody who has a different perspective, who can help evolve your offense and make it better. That's all I'm saying. I'm not asking for tremendous change and firing everybody. Just bring in a new person with new ideas. Do what LSU did. Innovate a little bit. Bring in somebody to help your offense because, man, it's there. I think part of Jake Fromm is Jake Fromm, I think, works really, really hard. I get that sense. It comes through. He's a great guy. I really get a good vibe from him. But you can work really, really hard. And if you don't know what things you need to work on, if you don't have guidance and a direction to go in, you can just do the same thing over and over again and not get better. I wonder if that's what's going on with the Bears quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky. He can work really hard, But if he doesn't have someone helping him, knowing what he needs to work on, doesn't matter. Jake Fromm and Georgia's offense need help because the potential's there and it's being wasted. A good, incredible Georgia defense, great talented players, and a really good Georgia quarterback. It's all being wasted because the offensive coaching isn't good enough in Georgia. And man, oh man, it drives me nuts. It drives me bonkers. It's hard to watch.